Today, we are going to talk about how to automate your motivated seller list building and marketing with a tool called List Automator with PropStream, one of my favorite tools and a resource that I refer to and recommend often, very often, in fact. That's the good news. There's bad news, and then there's more good news. The bad news is Burton is fighting a terrible migraine. So unfortunately, he won't be here. However, your favorite guinea pig is going to take that opportunity to walk you through List Automator myself, because I believe in being open and transparent and honest on these sessions. And one of the reasons why I wanted to have Burton on is I don't actually and haven't actually used the List Automator function. And I was going to use this as an opportunity to get guidance and tutelage from the man himself. But instead, I'm just going to be a bit guinea pig and I'm going to sign up for it. And we're going to set up at least one, maybe two, maybe more. We'll see how easy and fast it is. Motivated seller lists with List Automator in PropStream. So I'm going to be the guinea pig. If Shay is able to hop on, I believe Shay is using the List Automator function, so he may be able to lend some personal experience to that. But either way, we're going to have a great session for sure. Most of you who I am, for those of you who don't, my name is Josh Schoenly. I am a dual licensed real estate agent with eXp Realty with a local team in central PA, Harrisburg, Mechanicsburg, York, Perry County areas, and also a growing organization all throughout the country on the real estate side, and also licensed as a mortgage loan originator with a team where we are licensed in 12 or 13 states. Nexa Mortgage, which is the brokerage I'm at, they're licensed in 48 out of 50 states. Enough about me. We're going to get into it. I do have a couple of housekeeping items before we dig in, before I share my screen and log into PropStream and get started. I'm guessing this part of it will be a shorter session, which is good because I want to share a few things with kind of the second half of the hour. So I'm thinking the first 30 minutes, we'll dig into PropStream, List Automator, play around with that tool, show the functionality of it. The second half, I want to cover a couple of different things. An update on the video ad marketing that I've been doing that I talked about, was it last week? It seems like, gosh, time is compressing. I guess it was last week. I've been running ads now for almost 2 weeks, and my excitement for it is only growing because of the results that I've been seeing, the amount of people that are watching all of my videos, the leads that I'm now generating from some of the commercial direct response videos that I'm layering on top of the audiences that I'm building out. And for those of you that are interested in that, how you can get more information, etc. That's one thing that we're going to cover in the second half of this. And the other part that I want to cover is a text script. I love my text and email scripts. I used a text script yesterday. I swiped it from Jimmy Mackin. Okay, so credit where credit is due. He had emailed it out earlier in the week. And I've been doing this long enough that when I see some scripts, I just know, oh, this is a home run. So I started to deploy the script yesterday. And how's this for a teaser? Which, by the way, if you're watching this after the fact, or if you're watching in the Facebook group, drop a comment if you want to check out the script, because I have already, from sending, I did a test batch, because anytime I'm using something new, I like to test batch. I did a test batch, sent it out to a little under 500 seller leads in my KV core. And so far, I have a potential listing referral for 1.5 million, another one potentially for 1.2 million, and then I have 5 more that I'm in conversation with. By the way, the 1.5 and the 1.2, they're not in my market, but I'll get a referral fee from them. The referral fee from those is as much as a normal commission in my market for my average home price. And then the other 5 that I'm in conversation with are in my local market here. Point is, it worked really well. And now I'm going to deploy it even more. I'm going to start sending it out in batches over the rest of the week and probably next week. So I'll share that as well on the back half of this session. If you have questions, or if you missed something, you want me to go back and point something out, etc., drop a comment in the chat or drop a note or a comment in the Facebook live stream. And James, if you can help monitor this chat here, and I'll do my best. For those of you wondering, when I look over here, it's because I'm checking out the chat on the Facebook group. So first and foremost, we promised List Automator to show you how to automate your motivated seller list building and marketing. And so I'm going to start with that using PropStream. Now, PropStream, most of you have heard me talk about it. We've had Burton on a number of times over the last few months. We had Shay on in January, and he talked about how he's using PropStream and their artificial intelligence to go after potential foreclosures. So people that, based upon artificial intelligence and algorithmic data, are more than likely to be going into foreclosure than the general population. And you should check out those past sessions. I'll link them up with the replay here, but you can go to joshshanleycoaching.com, Josh Shanley Coaching on YouTube to check those out. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take the high foreclosure factor AI, and we're going to build out a list automator or an automated list around that for my target market. And I'm going to loop in the video ads idea in the sense that I'm going to target the same city that I'm running all of my YouTube ads. Why? These people that I am going to then market to, that I identify with PropStream, they may have already seen my videos on YouTube or on Facebook or on Instagram or on Nextdoor or on TikTok, and I've already started to establish the know and trust ability with those folks. So I'm trying to make it as integrated as possible. That's probably enough teeing it up here. Let me find which screen I have the PropStream login on, and you all can see my screen, right? Yes, I'm going to log into PropStream. You can get a free trial, growwithjosh.com/PS. When you do, or if you have previously had a trial, or even if you currently have an active subscription, either of those cases, email me or shoot me a DM because I can get you some free marketing credits. Everybody loves free, right? So hit me up, shoot me an email, shoot me a DM. If you haven't ever checked it out, or maybe you checked it out years ago, if you go back to growwithjosh.com/PS, just use a different email or something, and you'll get a new free trial, and we can hook you up with those marketing credits one way or the other. So this is the general interface for PropStream, okay? And very transparently, if you just hopped on, Burton is sick. He's on the West Coast, so I didn't know. He's waking up 3 hours. He's 3 hours behind me. So I didn't know until under an hour ago that he was not. So what I'm going to do is be the guinea pig here, and I'm going to sign up for List Automator because very transparently, I haven't used that function of PropStream. I've been using PropStream for years to build targeted lists of absentee owners, of folks that maybe are potentially would be thinking about downsizing or pre-foreclosures. I use this all the time when circle prospecting around a listing. I use this to build that targeted audience that I'm going to market to. I recently shared how I used it to create a targeted list to market for clients of mine who are ready, willing, and able to buy a home. They're pre-approved, ready to go. We just can't find them anything. So there's lots of great use cases for this. One other way that I use this almost on a daily basis is when we've got active buyer clients who are interested in a property, right? So they'll say, hey, we're thinking we might want to go check out this property. One of the first things I always do is I go to PropStream and I pull up the full property details so that we can look at what's the transaction history, what's the mortgage history, how does PropStream's automated value compare to the list price. And I bring that up and I download it. I don't actually print it out. I download it as a PDF and I send it to them. That is a way that I demonstrate and differentiate myself versus the typical agent. Oh, you want to go check it out? Let's go check it out. I don't know who that was that I just imitated there. That's none of you on here. I'll just say that. So that's one way that I use it all the time. And just for real quick, since I mentioned it, I don't know why this property is saved here, but if I bring this up, you can search for a specific address. If I go to details, it's got an estimated value. It's got some other interesting facts and data. It's got comparable sales and nearby listings. Now, what I will tell you is don't go with their default settings for this. If you're actually going to use the comparable and nearby listing function, play with this data here to make sure that it's actually comparable sales data, and nothing showing up for this one because it's a pretty rural area. So I probably have to expand out the distance on this, or there may be other things. I already mentioned this, but the property details, you can see the history. And a lot of buyers are curious, like, when did they buy it? Did they recently buy it and it's a flip? Or are they the only owner of the property, right? Whatever the case may be. You can also look at very easily the mortgage info. So it's an arm's length transaction, arm's length resale. I don't know. And there's a new conventional loan at just under 5%. And it looks like it's not been refied. Whatever that, it's valuable information, right? And it demonstrates to your client or potential client, like, I've got some insider info, right? Like, I'm going beyond just the typical, oh, I'll send you the full MLS sheet, right? This is going way beyond that. But that's not what our main point today is or was. I need to figure out, first of all, how do we sign up for List Automator? So on the left-hand side here, I'm assuming that I'm going to go to Settings and Add-on Services. There you go. So on the left-hand side here, Settings, Add-on Services, and List Automator. Boom. First, front and center. And look at this. I get a free 14-day trial. I don't even have to pay for it today to be the guinea pig. Right here, List Automator. What are some of the other add-ons? Here's a video about it. I don't even know what the other add-ons are. I think that's the main one. Oh, another add-on was increasing your imports and exports. For most of you, you don't need more than 10,000. For their standard $97 per month, which, by the way, if you're wondering, it's $97 per month. No contracts, no long-term commitments, any of that nonsense. And for that, you get to save, and which allows you to import or export up to 10,000 records. I've never even come close to hitting that amount in a month. That's each month. So each month it resets to 10,000. Like, virtually impossible to hit that. So List Automator is $27 a month as an add-on with a free 14-day trial. Let's go ahead and oh boy. I wasn't planning for this. I think it's that. Oh boy, I'm putting this on the screen. I'm going to have to blur this out after the fact. I wasn't thinking that I would have to do that. Oh, shoot. And we're going to have a problem because someone stole that card or stole that. I had fraudulent charges on that card and I had to cancel it. You're going to have to see me muddle through. Here's what I'm going to have to do. I'm going to have to stop my screen share and add a different payment method. Fails. Let me get the other payment method added in here. Hopefully.
Murphy's Law.
Right? Yeah, I wasn't even thinking of it. By the way, it's a good reason to make sure that you're checking your business accounts regularly, because I may not have noticed, if I wasn't regularly checking, the fact that someone somehow or another got my debit card number. And I saw a pending transaction. One was for $19.98, so it was flying under the radar. But the other one was for over $1,000. And it was someone who had somehow got my card and was buying Apple equipment. So it must have been like a little something or other, and maybe like a laptop or something. Thankfully, I caught it quick enough that it was able to be headed off at the pass before becoming more problematic. All right, I think we're almost... 1, 2, upgraded successfully. So let me share my screen again. Bear with me. Thank you all. By the way, if you're watching this after the fact, I probably will just clip out all of that using Descript, which is one of my favorite tools that I'm using for video editing. Okay, so I've got the List Automator function set up, and I've not used it before. So we're going to muddle through how we set up the List Automator to be notified when there are... So I guess let me back up. So the point of List Automator is that data or properties information is updating regularly, right? So if a property, let's say you want to set up to be automatically notified when new properties are in pre-foreclosure. List Automator you would set up so that whenever that information is reported and PropStream sort of scrapes that data, you'd automatically be notified, and those new leads would be added into your list in the system, and then you can market to them whatever your marketing plan is, which, by the way, If you're not sure what to do with, that's not necessarily what we're doing a deep dive on today. But Shay, when we had Shay on back in January, he shared exactly what he does with this data. He takes batches of 25 to 50 targeted, potentially motivated sellers, and he's got a whole process for it that he walks through. It includes email and phone and text. He's not using direct mail still. I'm trying to get him to use direct mail, but it's working for him. So, like, to each their own. But go check that out if you want a full sort of end-to-end on what that might look like, or one way to do that. But today I just want to show the List Automator function, and then I've got some other cool stuff that I want to dig into. Okay, so if I go to filter, I'm going to filter through and create a list of a targeted list that I then want to set up on the automation. So the first thing we're going to do is I'm going to look for Mechanicsburg. And Mechanicsburg is where I've got my video ad process rolling. So like I've already got that. We're already hitting those audiences, those 32,000 households on their television and on their other screens. So why not find other ways to identify those motivated sellers in there? And you can see here that there are a whole bunch of lead lists that you could choose to start with. So for example, maybe I just want the vacant properties. And the vacant properties, that is, and you can find, if you Google PropStream lead list definitions, for those of you who are curious, what do some of these different things mean? If you Google PropStream lead list definitions, it'll break down like what that means. And for example, vacant means that mail is not able to be delivered to the property address. So that is reliant upon USPS data. I don't know how relevant or accurate that is, to be honest. A certain percentage of them will actually be vacant, okay? Divorce. Notice, for me, that data in the county that I'm in, that I live in, for whatever reason, it's not available. You may go check it out on a free trial, and this divorce data may be here. And maybe that's a niche audience that you already have experience in, not that you've been divorced, but like that's a type of clientele that you've worked with in the past. Bankruptcy, okay? Not a whole lot in Mechanicsburg, but it's some, right? That may be a targeted list that I want to. Maybe most of you on here are real estate agents, but some of you are hybrid real estate and investor, or maybe you're just investor and you found this. You could set up to be automatically notified of new cash buyers. Why is that important? You can build your cash buyer list so that when you get a good deal, you've got people that you can reach out to see if they would be interested. Flippers is a category. I forget what the definition of that is, but it's something along the lines of they bought and resold properties within some window of time. Tax delinquent. Okay, there's potential motivation there. Tired landlords. These are non-owner occupied properties. And again, I forget the exact definition, but non-owner occupied properties, and they've owned it for a long time, essentially. Zombie properties. There aren't any available in Mechanicsburg right now, but zombie properties are vacant and pre-foreclosure, I think. And maybe there's one other criteria. Anyway, pre-probate is another one that people find interesting. Pre-probate means that one of the people on the deed is now deceased. I would be careful in how you market to them or approach those, but there could be a lot of opportunity there. I'm going to forego these lead lists altogether. And I want to show how you can use the PropStream intelligence, which we've had Burton on twice in the last few months to talk about PropStream intelligence. I'm going to show you how to use that, and we're going to build a list with high foreclosure factor. Before we get to the PropStream intelligence, though, I don't want to be soliciting properties that are actively listed on the market. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go to MLS, and I'm going to choose not on market. Now, I recently released on the channel a tutorial on how to use, there's a couple on the channel actually, on how to use PropStream to find potential deals that are on market. But in this case, we're going directly to the homeowner. That was a scenario where we could identify the potential deals that are on market, and I created it around the deal of the week strategy where we could reach out to the listing agent. Here, we're trying to reach out directly to the homeowner. So I'm going to choose not on market. Now I'm going to go back up to property details, and we're going to choose residential. And I might also choose single family condo townhome because I don't really want mobile homes. There's not a ton of mobile homes in Mechanicsburg, but there are some. And I don't I have experience selling them, but I don't really want to intentionally be marketing to those if I can avoid it. Now, still not going to go to PropStream Intelligence because I want to go down to owner information and I want to choose individually owned because I don't want this list to include corporate or mixed ownership or in a trust. I want to be able to market to a person. I want to be able to communicate to an actual human being, right? So when we can merge in their contact information, we can speak to that person. We can speak to James. We can speak to William. We can speak to Mike, whoever the direct mail, the email, the text, the phone call are going to. Now, actually, there's one more thing I'm going to do under this is I'm going to choose minimum years of ownership, 3. Okay, so that they've at least been there for 3 years. Now I'm going to go to PropStream Intelligence. Now I'm going to go to PropStream Intelligence, and I'm going to go to foreclosure factor, and I want high to very high. So if I choose high, it's inclusive of very high. It's actually 398. I'm pretty surprised. Maybe I'm just going to go very high. 42. That's a more manageable list to start with. So now I'm going to go view properties, and I'm going to select all of these properties, and I'm going to create new, and I'm going to have to figure out where the List Automator figures into this. I thought it was intuitive. And James, can you see if Shay's on here? He might be helpful for this. But I'm going to call this Mechanicsburg very high foreclosure factor. And I'm going to put the date 5. And I'm going to save that. And now we need to figure out how we can turn that into an automated list. Okay, so I've got this list of 42 that I can, actually, before we do that, here's what we're going to do with this list. I'm going to go over, I've got a saved list now. I want to skip trace this list because as it stands right now, all I have is the name, the property address, and the mailing address if the mailing address is different from the property address. But we want to market to these people beyond that, okay? And in fact, to the folks who have a phone number that isn't on the do not call list, these would be wonderful people to use the text script that I'm going to share later in the session here that many of you in the comments, at least on the Facebook live feed, have already asked for. So I'm going to go select contacts. Also, the script will work great as an email to these folks that I'm going to market to. I have to find my list. So I'm going to start typing Mechanicsburg very high foreclosure factor, the date, and we've got 42 contacts. So I then have to add the selected contacts. I need to select all, click done. And now you can see here that it says 42 contacts selected. I'm going to choose re-skip trace because I may have skip traced this data in the past. And for example, if I skip traced them 3 years ago, maybe there was a phone number that wasn't on the DNC that is now. Or maybe they have a different cell phone number than they did now. Or maybe they started using a different email they did now. So depending on how, active and often you're using this, you may have to do that to account for that. And it's minimal, especially when you're talking about small numbers here. So for a whopping $4.20, I'm going to skip trace this data. Now, the free marketing credits that I mentioned that you can get when you sign up for PropStream at growwithjosh.com/PS, this is an example of where those marketing credits can go toward, is the skip trace functionality. If you sign up for the trial, or if you've had PropStream in the past and you want to reactivate, or whatever the case may be, just reach out. I will do my best to hook you up with the marketing credits. This is just a notice about the do not call registry, and it will scrub against the do not call and the known litigators, etc. And it will report on the output spreadsheet, who is on the DNC, and we avoid those phone numbers. It doesn't mean that we're not going to market to those people. We just avoid the phone numbers. We can still email and we can still direct mail them, and we will, okay? So that's that. Now, my properties, where do we add the List Automator is the question. Add to favorites, add to marketing list, manage contracts. As I said, I like to be transparent, and you're seeing me be transparent here. We had a last-minute change in the fact that Burton was not able to be here, and so I'm being the guinea pig. I was hoping that we were going to use my account to do this together, and Burton was going to lead that. And unfortunately, he was under the weather and not able to join us here. So help campaigns.
Josh?
Yes.
I'm noticing as I'm looking at what you scrolled by, when you were in the List Automator page and you had on the far right side the video section, when you look down, one of the things that I saw was import export. And I'm wondering if you have to take your 42 people or 42 properties and import it into this service.
The List Automator is natively built into PropStream. So let's see how long this is not a long video. Hopefully you guys can hear the video, and we're gonna watch it together, and then I'll use what I find in here to set up that as an automated list.
Can't hear it now.
This is Burton's voice. What's that? Can't hear it?
No, I can't at least. List Automator. At first, it's called data-driven automated. As well as this automator will help you organize effort on.
Unfortunately, it doesn't seem like this is a how-to, and it's not. So we're gonna do what I could have done in the beginning: how to set up a list on List Automator with PropStream. And I'm sure I'm missing something. Create a list, review your list, automate, access List Automator. Go to the settings page of your account, select that. I already did that. Click on a saved marketing. Ah, okay. We go my properties. It's a saved marketing list. As you can see, I do actually use this thing. You can see all the saved list and so forth that I have. There it is. Look at that. Aha. It was right there in front of me. So now I can automate this list by clicking here. And when new properties that match your exact search criteria come available, do the following. And by default, it's choosing ignore, because this automation hasn't been set up for this list yet. So I can choose add to this list, or I could add it to another list, or I could even choose I'll do it myself, which I think would mean you'll be notified, but then you'd have to manually do that. I want to add it to this list. So I'm going to choose add it to the list, and I'm going to choose, I don't think I'm going to choose immediately. I think I'll choose weekly, because this is a list. It's only 42 to start with. And it's not likely that there's going to be a lot of properties added on a daily basis. So I'm going to choose weekly. And the property changes, that means, is there something about the criteria that we selected that means it no longer fits that criteria? So I'm going to choose remove from this list. And I'm going to choose weekly as well. And I'm going to save it. So now I have an automated list that when a property fits that search criteria, it will automatically get added. Now that I know how to do it, let's do it one more time, and I'll do a different search criteria, and we'll do it top to bottom for those that are curious. So let's go back to search. I'm going to clear all. We're going to start fresh here. I'm going to start with Mechanicsburg, and I'm going to go to filter. First and foremost, MLS. We don't want them on the MLS. So no. Then I'm going to go to property details, and I'm going to choose residential, single family, condo. Then I'm going to go to owner information. I'm going to choose individually or individual owned, and I'm going to choose a minimum of 3 years of home ownership. And lastly, I'm going to show a different thing. I could go to property condition here, or some of the other, I could just do the same one again and show you that. Or what I could choose is do the same thing, but choose the ones that are high, right? So it's not the very high, it's just the high. And in that case, I've got 356, but that's redundant. Let's show some other ideas. Let's get creative here. So instead of that, I'm going to go up to their automated lead lists, and I'm going to choose pre-probate. Pre-probate, easy for me to say. Now, I don't know why it says 159, and then when I select it, it's 24. Actually, I take that back. I think I do know why. That is 159 would be if I just chose pre-probate and Mechanicsburg. It's dwindled down to 24 when I also select I've owned for at least 3 years. I also select that it's individually owned, that it's not on market, that it's a residential property. Now, there's one other criteria that I want to make sure is, so this is important in particular if you're in a rural area or an area where data might be a little managed less well, let's say. So again, I'm in a pretty rural area. Cumberland County is rural. It's not going to be technology advanced like some counties might be. And for properties that were purchased beyond a certain date, like pre-1999, let's say, it will show up as unknown sales date. So I'm wondering what happens if I choose include. I also probably need to go back and edit the filters that I had on the other one, because when I choose include, notice it jumps up to 146 properties. So what that means is when I selected 3 years, it was saying 3 years until going backward until there was a known date of the transaction. When I select unknown, it's including properties that were purchased prior to 2000. And I want that, right? I want those properties that have had significantly longer ownership. And you can see here the last sale date. And I would recommend anytime you use this, that you check for common sense, meaning you're going to play with these filtering and then look at some of the results that you get and make sure that it checks out. Because sometimes weird, wonky stuff happens, but you can see that starting with this one, there's no known sale date and there's no loan balance. I would have missed out on those if I hadn't select to include unknown sale dates. So that was worth the price of admission here if you're using this on any level. So now I'm going to select, I'm going to add to list. I have to add it to a list, a marketing list, a saved marketing list, before I can set up List Automator. So I've got to do one before I do the next. So I'm going to create new, Mechanicsburg, Pre-Probate list, and I'll put the date, still living, there is no 391, 3/19/25, and I will save it, close it out. I'm not going to skip trace this list yet, though I might. I just want to show you how to then automate the list. So now we're going to go back over here.
Hey, Josh, Michael, how is this data different from buying probate lists from a service?
Let me show that, and then I'll address that. That's a great question. Well, actually, I'll just address it now. This is not probate. Probate means everyone on the deed is now deceased. Pre-probate means at least one party on the deed is deceased, and most likely not everyone. So it's different data. And I'll pull up the definitions to show, and we'll go through what that definition is. So I'm going to share my screen again. I'll share how we're going to automate the list, and then I'll pull up the PropStream definition list, and then we'll do Q&A around this, and then time permitting, we'll pivot to a couple of the other topics that I mentioned that we would dive into today, unrelated to the List Automator function. So first, now that we have the saved marketing list, we're going to go over here to My Properties. Under Marketing Lists, right here, and notice now we have automated lists, okay? So that created a new category once we upgraded from that trial. But I'm going to go over here to Marketing Lists, Mechanicsburg Pre-Probate, and the date. That way I know how I saved it. And then we're going to say Automate List. We're going to choose Add to this list. We're going to choose Weekly. We're going to choose Remove from the list. We'll choose Weekly and save it. Now, what does that mean? Why? So here, let me give you one of several reasons why I think you should remove them from the list if they're listed. If they go on market with another listing agent, it will take them off of that list so that you're not soliciting intentionally or unintentionally. In that case, you wouldn't really know unless you're checking every single record. It'll just take them out of the list, right? So that whatever, if you want to send another email blast or another text blast, or you want to call through the list again, that you're not reaching out again and they're now actively listed. And I think you can explain that away pretty easily, because I've unintentionally marketed to properties that are actively listed, meaning they showed up on something that we did, or they requested a home value or cash offers on iList, and I reach out to them and they're like, talk to my agent. Whoa, I didn't know you were listed. And if the agent calls, just say, hey, look, I didn't know you were listed. Your client requested a home value or a cash offer. That's why I followed up. I didn't realize it was listed. No harm, no foul. Just take it easy there if that happens. Let's go over the definitions. So we'll say PropStream lead list definitions, and a couple that I'll highlight that I think are interesting to note. We'll start with pre-probate. It identifies all properties where one of the owners on a property title has been identified as deceased. Zombie, properties that are currently in pre-foreclosure and has been flagged as being vacant by the U.S. Postal Service. Vacant land, that's obvious. Vacant properties flagged as being vacant by the U.S. Postal Service. That does not mean that they are 100% certainly vacant, but they might be. Tax delinquency, that's of interest as well. That's one that I honestly don't use much, but it's probably a pretty good list where there might be some motivation. You could go, I'm just going to clear all again here. I'm just going to do one more because I get excited by this stuff. I'll go Mechanicsburg. We'll filter. We don't want them on market. We want owners that are individually owned. They've owned for 3 years or more. And you know what? Maybe in this one, we'll go non-owner occupied. Okay, so we're absentee owner, not on market, individually owned. Let's go up to property details. I want residential, single family, or condo, and then tax delinquent. I got 58. That may be a list that I want to set up on List Automator, right? And that could be a pretty motivated, targeted list of properties. I'm looking at these. There's some good ones on the list here. Some of these townhomes would sell easy. Anyway, there's good and bad with PropStream. There's so many ways that you can filter and play with it. That's a cool thing, but you can get lost in the minutia of it if you're not careful. So I think just start with something. And I would say start with a small targeted list, 50 or less, so that you can learn the process. You can see how easy it is to skip trace the data. You can see, once you have that skip trace data, then you can deploy some of the marketing ideas just to figure out the flow and the process that works for you and what you're looking to do. Pre-probate, we got that. Taxes going way up in Delaware. Ed says, going to be a good list in 6 months. Ed, also, this is related to the pre-probate question. Once probate is involved, the cost of buying is way more. It can be a little trickier at that point versus trying to sell one with someone who is, one of the parties on title is not deceased, for lack of a better term. And then a bunch interested in the scripts. Any other questions about PropStream before I make good on the promise for the script? Going once, going twice. All right. And then we'll finish with just some updates on the video ad, the YouTube video ad strategies that I've been incredibly excited about. I've been sharing some updates with those of you who have gotten on the VIP notification list. And I'm just really excited for the bootcamp that is coming up. It's going to start on Monday for those who are interested. I'm going to open up KB Core here, but I want to zoom it in so that I'm not showing any sensitive data that'll get this flagged. I don't want to have to go and redo a bunch of this. So I'm going to zoom in. All right, here we go. And I will, for those interested, for those who have commented, if you're watching this after the fact, if you drop a comment, I'll get you a Google Doc with the actual script that you can copy and paste. I'll also give you an email version of the text script and probably an update on some of the results that I've gotten thus far. But I will share this for those that are wanting to R&D as quickly as possible. And once again, I want to give credit where credit is due. I ripped this off of Jimmy Mackin, listingleads.com. I don't pay for the service, but quite honestly, about once a week, he sends something that's super valuable like this. And I've been sharing scripts and email templates for years and years, so I don't think there's anything wrong with swiping and deploying. And actually, he shares them so people do that. So anyway, the script, it's right here. Hi, Richard. I know that this is probably the wrong time, but we've been talking with a lot of buyers who are very serious about buying in the next 60 to 90 days. Would you be open to the idea of selling if you got a great offer? Let me know. Thanks, Josh. And I honestly, I put my own little spin on it a little bit. So this isn't exactly the way Jimmy's was structured, but pretty close. Who are very serious about buying in the next 60 to 90 days. Would you be open to the idea of selling if you got a great offer? Let me know. Thanks, Josh. Now, for those of you that are using KB Core, here's what I would do if I were you. I would find as many ways possible to use that text, because I'm telling you, both from years of experience of knowing scripting and structure that works, and from actual personal experience over the last 24 hours, that script works, period. Hard stop. So here's what I would figure out if I were you. How many different ways can I use this? And even if you have to send it one-to-one and spend an hour personally sending it to 50, 100, 2 people, I would do it. So whether that's to expireds, to FSBOs, it probably doesn't make any sense because they're already saying expireds or old expireds. Here's where I started, okay? This is the batch that I started with, that if you're using KB Core, you can do the same if you choose. Under the contacts, okay, so you go contacts, top left, I'm only not showing this because anytime I put the customer data on here, then it gets flagged by YouTube, and it's a pain in the ass, okay? Just now I got to mark this with explicit. Whatever. Left-hand side, contacts. I then chose, and I'll explain why. I chose active contacts or active lead, I think is the criteria. And I chose that first because today and tomorrow, I'm going to choose new lead and prospect. And then when they engage, it makes them active. Whereas if I had done it the other way around and I waited to do active last, I'd then be texting people that I already texted because KV Core makes them active when they reply to the text. You don't need to understand that logic, but just if you're using KV Core or something like it, start with the active ones first for two reasons. Number one, it'll get you some quick wins because if they're already active, they're more likely to respond. And number two, if from the other list they end up active, you're not sending the same script to the same people more than once. Okay. So I chose active, and then I chose has phone number, subscribe to text message, and has property address. You know what? Here, I think I can do it in a way where it won't show data. Let me get to a point where I can at least show those criteria for those of you who are using KV Core, because I like these to be as useful and tactical as possible, and I don't want you to get lost in the weeds. So let me see if I can get to the point where I can show you those filters, and it won't create a big pain in the butt for me. I got to clear this, and I'm going to go contact. Yeah, okay, perfect. So let's go back here. So I'm on the left-hand. So I start by the left-hand side. I don't know. What would you call this? A hub and spoke? It's this thing here. It's contacts. And then in this block right here, which is grayed out, if you choose any of the criteria, it'll pop open all filters here. So contact status is where I'm going to start, and I recommend start with active. Then I'm going to go to contact details, has phone, subscribe to SMS, and has primary address. That was it. And for me, it was like 400 people that I sent out that message. That was my first batch, just to get some initial results and feedback and just see how people would reply and what they would reply. And what I got was, I got several yeses, meaning, yes, we're open to selling. And so I'm in conversation with a couple of those. I got several possibly. And for those, what I did was iList has a new function called Project Falcon. And I'm having Joe come on, I think next week on the mastermind to talk about that and some other things. And all that means is very quickly, you can get preliminary cash offers within seconds. So then I went back and said, look, it looks like the preliminary offers are coming back in this range. Are we even like in the ballpark of exploring those? And so I'm working through those. And then I have 3 already that I've referred somehow or another. They had properties that are not my local area. And I have 3 that I've referred out to 2 other EXP agents and 1 outside of EXP just because I know and like the fella in a particular market area. Point is that script works. So I would use it if I were you. And home value leads, quite honestly, any lead that we generate, I haven't talked about this in a while, but any lead we generate, I personally, what I call disposition, which means I take the phone number and the email and I try to verify, do they own a home currently? And if they do, I add that address in KV Core, and now I've got that address. So that list of 486, I don't know how many of them opted in for a free list of new construction homes or opted in for information about a specific listing. I don't really care. Doesn't matter. I did the work to figure out that they own a home. You never know who will raise their hand. And it's also the reason why I knew it would work, this script, is because it's reverse psychology or takeaway selling. Hey, this is probably a bad time or a wrong time, I think is what it said. We've got a bunch of buyers that are thinking about buying. Are you at all open to it? So it's a very soft sell and takeaway sell. And we have a reverse psychology script that goes, hey, I know you're probably not ready to buy right now, but when the time is right, do you have a home you need to sell first? Or I know you're probably not ready to sell right now, but when the time is right, will you be staying here in Central PA or relocating elsewhere? It's a takeaway. And then what happens is some people say, actually, we are ready right now. And a bunch of people will tell you, their situation. And now you've got more useful information so that the next time you follow up with them, you can echo back what they already told you. David, I did not. You know what? I'll copy and paste and drop it in here. And then I'm going to put it in a little Google Doc with the email variation and maybe even some other variations, because I'm going to continue to test it for myself. But let me just copy and paste the example that I was reading here. And I want to finish up with the video ads, YouTube ads update. I've mentioned to several of you, because I've talked to several of you about this and about other things. I am so excited about this that I am waking up even more early than I normally wake up, too excited to sleep. And I'm not like, this is not like literally Saturday morning. I woke up at 4:30 in the morning and I was just raring to go. I was just playing with different stuff and digging in. And that's pretty much been the last week and a half. Not every day exactly at 4:30, but earlier than I planned and like ready to go. And so I want to share some of why I'm getting this positive feedback loop, which has me getting even more excited. And also for those who are interested, tomorrow I am doing a Zoom with anyone who's interested. And specifically what we're going to do is explore with as many people as possible who are interested, keyword research and audience reach and opportunity calculation for you specifically. So in other words, in your market, based upon what I'm seeing, what I've learned already, etc., if you were to deploy these strategies, this is the target city or town or area that you should probably focus on. And even if you decide that you don't want to do the boot camp or any of that, at least you'll have that information and get some clarity around whether that might make sense for you. So for those of you who are interested, I will get added here with the replay of this, the link to tomorrow's Zoom. And in fact, I'll just do that right now here. And then I want to share, for those who are curious and interested, I'm going to share some of the updated stats and data, the things that are happening that are the reasons why I'm so excited to share this and to help others implement, and very transparently. First and foremost, I'm doing this so that my existing sales organization implements this so they sell more houses. Very transparently. Because at least in my market, any good listing is still selling like hotcakes. And I know that's not in every market. There's still tons of opportunity. And also, this strategy is working incredibly well already to get trade-up buyers interested in new construction. And so I'm also going to test getting the downsell buyers and a number of different things. Like I have a whole plan really for the rest of the year of the different ideas to test around now that I have the formula for where to start and how to get the initial traction. So I dropped that link for those that want to come to the free open info session tomorrow on kind of the market research, the keyword research, etc. For those that want, and many of you are already on the text notification list, I will text you that link and other information and details if you're interested. You can text YT to 717-510-1452, YT to 717-510-1452. If you have KV Core and your cell phone is attached to your KV Core, then you need to text me personally. You can also DM me or shoot me an email, but you can text me personally at YT. Just text YT to 717-571-0456. So first and foremost, let me share reason number one why I'm so excited about this. Look at the view duration on these videos. Now, these are short videos, but people are watching them. And this is all paid. So it's not like they went and found the video and the video perfectly matches what they were searching for, and then they watched the whole thing. This is all me paying to get people to watch them. So not only am I getting views from a penny to 2 pennies, they're watching the whole video. 95.8%, 94.4%. This one is a little longer and is more of a sales pitch, but still 76.5%. These are my short commercials, but they're watching all of them. Okay. Reason number one, why I'm so excited. Reason number two, my kids, they all work out at this same gym that's for younger athletes, middle school, high school, college athletes. My youngest daughter's been begging to go there. She's younger than any of our other kids started going there, but it's a fun environment and she wants to go, whatever. And quite honestly, it's expensive. So that was our hesitation. And apparently one of my other kids mentioned to Eric, who runs this gym, about our youngest wanting to come. And Eric said, you know what? Fourth kid's free. I was like, okay, there's some benefit to having four. So I texted him Sunday morning or Sunday at some point. And I said, hey, Tegan would really love to come in. When would be a good time for her to come in just to see the gym and you to meet her, et cetera? And so we decided it was Monday that she came in. And then he said, and I will read this verbatim because though it's not a client, it could not better articulate what I want to happen with this. We confirmed the day and time. He said, also, one of your commercials, his words, came up when I was watching YouTube the other night. An unsolicited review. You come off as extremely knowledgeable and approachable. The content of real estate has no interest to me, but I found myself really listening to where you were going with the information. You came through as someone I'd want to work with, even if I didn't know you, because you didn't seem like a quote-unquote suit or what my impression of what most agents are like, only worried about their bottom line. This is a dude who, like, he would be one of my ideal clients. Like, I would love to work with him if or when the time came. And that was completely unsolicited. It's the kind of thing that it's what I want to create in my marketplace, is that sort of connection with my marketplace where they associate me with what was ethical real estate sales, for lack of a better term. And I promise you, you all can make these videos. It's easy. And for those in the bootcamp, I'm going to give you the scripts. I'm going to show you exactly how to make them. I'm going to show you how to edit them, and we'll keep working together until you get it right. That's reason number 2 why I'm so excited. Reason number 3, as I have been going, when I get excited about stuff like this, I go like full immersion. I can't get enough of what's this guy doing? What's this guy doing? What's this approach? How are people outside of our industry? What are they doing to run ads? I'm doing all this deep dive, and I created a new campaign earlier in the week, the 17th. What was that, Monday? And this is a commercial, my commercial for new construction properties. And I am getting leads for under $10 from that new campaign. And that's the first thing I've tested to actually very directly generate leads from this process. And in a few days, from everybody I've gathered, the cost per lead, generally speaking, will only go down. Now, it'll get to a point where it won't go down any further. All of those conversions have happened in the last 24 hours. The first 24 hours, not much happened. And I was like, did I do something wrong? Is this not going to work? Because it was a strategy I took from someone who is marketing to other like coaches, consultants, etc. So they're marketing like the whole country, and I'm just marketing to Mechanicsburg. And so I was like, is this not going to work the same way? And 24 hours after that initial 24 hours, and the thing is cranking along like crazy. Another reason why I'm so excited about it is I now have a process to take the super high quality video that I'm going to use to show up on people's TV and to turn it into square, vertical, and sharing those on Facebook and Instagram, etc., both organically and paying. So I took my market update video. I don't know why it took me so long to think of this, but I took that video and I'm running that as a retargeting ad on Facebook. And I'm getting people to watch the whole video on Facebook for 6 cents or something like that. It's just, the more time people invest with you, the more likely they are that when they are ready to buy or sell real estate, that they will have already decided. They're not interviewing anybody else. They are literally just coming directly to you and saying, I could use your help. What do we do next? There are other reasons why I'm so excited as well. But if this is resonating with you, if it's making sense, some of you have already texted, but you can text YT. I'll put it in the chat. You can text YT I'll give the 2 different numbers. If you don't have KB Core, use the first number. If you do have KB Core, use my cell phone. KB Core is where I'm sending updates to those that are interested in being on the notification list. You can also register for tomorrow's session We'll do market research for you. We'll dig into there. I'll also share, like, if you're curious on any of the numbers or any of the things that I'm running through. Richard Galway says, unbelievable energy and enthusiasm. Like, what did I eat for breakfast? First of all, I usually go through a full pot of coffee between 5 a.m. and 9 a.m., and that usually gets me going. And then this morning I had super power protein-packed pancakes, for whatever that's worth. Any other questions? We're over an hour, so I need to come in for a landing. Michael, go ahead.
Yo, when's the boot camp?
Okay. Oh, yeah. That would be helpful, wouldn't it? So here's the plan. Monday, so the boot camp starts this coming Monday. What is that? March 24th. And we're going to run it for 6 weeks. Mondays are the plan for the week. So here's what to do each day. And then we'll reconvene on Thursday to troubleshoot, Q&A, etc., to address any possible roadblocks or hurdles that came up in the implementation of that. And then you can use Friday and the weekend to make any adjustments, tweaks, etc. And then we'll take the next step that following Monday. We're going to record them all. And anyone who participates, you'll get lifetime access to the recordings. And the goal is that in that 6 weeks, you'll have created not just a video, but a series of at least 3, what I would call content videos that are 1 to 2 minutes in length, and at least 2 direct offer commercial style videos. And not only that, but you'll have created a campaign. The strategy or the campaign type that they were recommending is being sunsetted by Google, which is fine. That kind of crap happens all the time. I also found there's a better way to do it anyway. It's called a sequence. You do an ad sequence where you may have heard in the past people on Facebook talking about, you can set up where you show this person this thing for 7 days, and then you show them this thing for whatever. YouTube has made that, or Google Ads with YouTube have made that incredibly simple. That's what happens, but you don't have to do anything fancy. You just choose this campaign type, you pop in the videos, and it will show them in a sequence to people. So they're not just seeing the same content from you, but they're seeing you and your positioning. That's been a huge lesson that I learned in a very short period of time. So we'll have that campaign and at least one campaign that we have that is directly created to generate leads. And I have other things that I'll be testing. I have a whole litany of things that I've outlined of what I'm going to test and only bring back to those that are in the boot camp. And then this has me so excited. I'm going to be sharing ongoing on a monthly basis. Here's what my campaign is for the week or the month. Here are my variations of the scripts that I'm using. And here are the different direct response offers that I'm layering on. I'm also testing ads to get people just to call, right? So I'm getting opt-in ads where people are requesting home value or cash offer options. I'm getting people opting in for a report, the home price report for Mechanicsburg. So all of these different things, we're going to walk you through how to create and edit the content, how to leverage that content across multiple platforms, and then how to create the campaigns. So like how to organically share them, and then how to create the campaign so you can pour gasoline on the fire. Julian, what will the boot camp cost? So I'm going to drop this document in the chat for those that are interested. This has a video overview and pricing breakdown. There's a couple of different pricing options and ways that you can get access. So I'm going to drop that in here for those that are interested truly and authentically. We'll find a way to make this work for you if you're interested. Call me, text me, DM me, email me. I really want to help as many of you with this as possible. And as excited as I've been about anything marketing, and I love marketing, I haven't been this excited in a very long time. I'll just leave it at that. All right, we need to wrap it up. If you have questions about PropStream or List Automator, go back and watch it again, maybe. Number 1. Number 2, reach out to me on that. You can get your free trial, growwithjosh.com/PS, growwithjosh.com/PS. Make sure that you email me or DM me for the free marketing credits so we can get you that. Make sure any of these links and things that I've referenced, if you're watching this after the fact, they'll be in the description with this as well, so you can check those out there. Next week, I'm 95% sure we're going to have Joe Peterson with iList on some of the updates and upgrades that he's made to the iList platform. And not only that, but I have finally figured out, at least for me, how to turn, if you're using iList, how to turn the people that are, when you get people looking at their dashboard, how to get them in conversation with you so you can disposition them to see why they're interested and turn those into listing opportunities. And in the last 2 months, I've gotten 3 listings that they're not listed with me yet. But for example, one is building a new home in New York to be closer to family. And so as soon as they know the timeline of when they'll be clear to close on, that's when we're listing. They've already told me, they basically told me after we met, we're not even interviewing other agents. You're our agent. And I already have some things that I have them working on that kind of lock me into that. And that's happened several times since I've tweaked my process with those. So I'm going to share that next week because it's relevant to that platform, et cetera. He's also going to share the update that they're calling Project Falcon, which you can very quickly get multiple cash offers on properties so you can have more interesting conversations with potential sellers on that front as well. And I just want to tease what we've got coming in the future weeks on these masterminds as well. We have one of the premier luxury real estate agents in the country coming on. For those of you who are interested in breaking into or adding luxury to your business, that will be a great session. I believe that'll be April 9th, 95% sure. And I have at least one, maybe 2 other major names in the industry who will be coming on to share some pretty cool stuff in April. So I'm really excited for all of that. Thanks so much. We went a little over. I think that's 2 weeks in a row that we went a little over, but I appreciate you all investing time here today. And if you have any questions, let me know. Reach out. My info is in the description below, or most of you, I'm not hard to find. Just Google me. You can track me down pretty easily. And if there's anything that I can do for you, let me know. Hope to see many of you tomorrow on the free Zoom session, which, by the way, I'll have that below as well. If you miss that, I'm going to record it, but I'm not going to share that publicly on my YouTube channel. But if you reach out to me, if you miss it or you want to check out the recording, reach out to me. I'll have it available, but I'm just not going to put it up public on the Josh Schoenly Coaching YouTube channel. Thanks so much. I appreciate all the comments and the kind words, etc. And if I don't see you tomorrow, we'll see you next week.